Hello, my name is Catherine Baldwin, and I want to talk to you today about how to recover our true selves. So, why do some of us lose ourselves? Why do we hide from our true selves? Why do we squeeze ourselves into shapes that aren't meant for us? Why do we pretend to be something that we're not? Why do we get into relationships that aren't right for us because we are not being true to ourselves? Or why do we end up in careers in which we feel absolutely trapped, desperate to get out because they aren't aligned with our true selves? So for many of us, we have had experiences perhaps in our early years when we understood that it wasn't safe, that it wasn't okay, that being our true selves would get us into trouble. So maybe when you were young, you spoke up and you were your true self in a situation. And maybe in that situation, the adult or the caregiver shouted at you, was angry with you, told you off, told you that you were wrong. And basically in that moment, you decided that you couldn't trust yourself, that you couldn't be true to yourself, that it wasn't safe to be your true self. And you took that true self and you hid her deep beneath you, and you built all these layers on top of her. So I can very much relate to that experience. I understood as a child from speaking up and being true to myself that it wasn't safe to do so, that I would be met with anger, with possible rejection, with possible abandonment, and as a child that feels life-threatening. So we want to avoid that at all costs. So I created a persona. I built all these layers. I was the good girl. I was perfect, or I had to be perfect. I achieved loads at school, at university. I became a news journalist, a global correspondent, and then I did politics and I was a political correspondent, and I climbed up this ladder and I built this persona and I became this person until I got to this place when I was there and I looked around and I thought, what am I doing here? Why am I here? What have I been working for? This isn't me. This isn't who I am. I don't want to be doing this anymore. My relationships weren't working out because I wasn't being true to myself. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was at my core. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what I liked doing. So I was being inauthentic in my relationships, desperate for love, but pretending to be something that I wasn't in order to be loved, in order not to be abandoned. So I had to go through a process of recovering my true self, of digging deep, of finding out who I was at my core. It was a long process, but the results have been incredible. So I have completely changed my career. So I'm no longer a political journalist. I coach, I write, I have moved out of London. I live by the sea. I walk on the beach. I swim in the sea. I do work that's really aligned with my authentic self. I coach others to have healthy relationships with themselves and to have healthy romantic partnerships. And I coach others to create lives that they love, and it's truly fulfilling. And so how do we recover our true selves? How do we find who we are underneath the baggage and the layers that we have put on top? So I have a few suggestions. I suggest that you begin with the question, who am I? So take out a piece of paper or take out the notes on your phone or on your computer, write that question, who am I? And then begin to answer it, not all in one go, but begin to answer it. Take it with you, take that notebook or your phone with you and keep writing down, who am I? Who am I? If you're struggling to answer that question, think about what you love doing. Where are you at your happiest? What brings you alive? What makes you tingle inside? So to give you an example, I am an adventurer, a free spirit, a beach lover, a sun lover. I'm an outdoors person. I love to camp, to cycle. I love to run. I am a writer. So I forgot that in all those years that I was doing news journalism, writing to deadlines, I forgot about my creativity and that I need to write. So I am a writer, I have written a book, I'm writing another book. I am now in a relationship, so I am a partner, but I'm also, intuitive, creative. I'm a coach, I'm an encourager. And so we write down all these aspects of ourselves on a piece of paper or on our phone or on our computer, and we begin to create this picture of ourselves. And so when things come up in our lives, offers of relationships, invites to go away for a weekend, job opportunities, we measure those invitations, those potential partnerships, those jobs against that picture, against that list of answers to that question, who am I? Do they match? If I went down that path, if I took that relationship or took that job, would that be authentic? Would that be real? Would that be the real me? So once you have your list, I also suggest that you create a visual picture. So I'm a really visual person. I love colour, I love pictures, I love words. So you probably heard of this before, maybe you have done it, but I suggest that you create a vision board. So you take magazines, and Psychology's magazines are brilliant for this because they have lots of inspiring pictures and images and quotations, and you create a vision board, and here's one I prepared earlier. So this is who I am, and this is my authentic life. Camper van, bright red coat, lots of colour, travel, adventure. This is who I am. This is a picture of my authentic self. So I suggest that you create that picture. Once you have your list and your vision board, try and identify some small steps that you can take to dip your toe into the water of your authentic life. So maybe you want to be a writer, but you're stuck in a job that is nothing like that. So try taking a few hours out of your week to write, or write for an hour every morning, or write on the tube on the way to work. Maybe you want to work with children. Perhaps you can take half an afternoon off your day job and volunteer somewhere. That's something that one of my coaching clients is doing. Dip your toe in the water, try on a different profession. For some people, you might be bold and brave and you might be able to do an about turn, a big change. But for many of us, we need to take small steps before we can do a big leap. So before I moved to the seaside, I tested it out. I came for weekends, I came for a week, I dog sat, I tried it out, I dipped my toe in the water. Find somebody to be accountable to with these small steps, with these little goals that you are trying to achieve. That could be a friend, a family member, a coach, a mentor. It's so easy to lose our way when we are trying to change. It's frightening trying to change. We take one step forward and two steps back sometimes. So set your little goals and then ask somebody to gently support you, to be there for you, to check in with you, and with whom you can check in. And as you're doing this, as you're going through the process of change, in order to stay on track, think about the big picture. Think about what living an authentic life, about what recovering your true self could do for you. And if you can take inspiration and courage from my story, I used to be a political journalist who was extremely stressed, living in a small flat in London, commuting to work, working very long hours. And I used to binge eat to cope with the stress. I longed for freedom. I longed to be in a relationship. And everything has changed. I now live by the sea. I'm doing this video from my garden. I live here with my fiancé, who I met on a weekend when I was being true to myself, when I was camping and cycling and being outdoors. And I have written a book, so I have recovered my writer, and I'm doing work that I truly love. So try out those steps. See if those steps work for you. If you'd like any more support or guidance, find me, go to howtofallinlove.co.uk. I have more videos, I have a blog, and I'd love to help. Thanks for watching.